What is this about? Nobody was supposed to play this game. They lost. I know what they're talking about.
This is insane. This game has done everything wrong, but it's still winning. In the middle of the busiest release schedule of 2025, we are talking about some of the heaviest hitters in both indie and in AAA. A little game called Mega Bonk comes out of nowhere and is sold so consistently and so regularly and has so many players that are playing it that it is now directly competing with Borderlands 4 and Ghost.
Good. Make them scared.
Ghost of Yote. We are talking about games that have spent likely hundreds of millions of dollars just on their marketing budgets versus a game that spent literally nothing, at least that's the way it looks from my perspective. This game's success is entirely organic. It's grass-fed. It's homegrown. It's a game that was relatively unknown, only had a few devlogs on YouTube, and has now become one of the most talked about and played games this year, and it hasn't stopped yet. You know, if I was working at one of these AAA companies, if I was on their board of executives, I would have a lot of questions. Because while these guys keep talking about how prices need to go up on just about everything that they have, it looks like they're wasting money to me.
Yeah.
Because you have a guy, a solo
It's a tax write-off. I'm calling it now.
Developer, yet again, that made a game that's based off of memes in one of the most saturated genres in all of indie games, and he's making them look like fools. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the success of Mega Bonk and how against all odds the game that did everything wrong is somehow actually doing everything right, why a game like this has continued to grow, and why I think they planned it all.
Because it's good.
But before that, this video is sponsored by boot.dev, the best way and honestly the fastest way that I've found to be able to learn back-end development without getting bored or giving up halfway through. I've been testing it myself, and what really sets it apart is how it feels more like a game than a course. You're not just passively watching videos, you're writing real code from the very first lesson, building projects in Python and Go, and actually preparing yourself for the kind of back-end jobs that pay well over 6 figures in the US. Boot.dev solved the hardest problem with e-learning, boredom, by, well, just making the entire thing a game, giving you XP, levels, achievements, even quests, anything to be able to keep you engaged. And even if you do get stuck, well, they have an AI wizard bear named Boots that jumps in with some Socratic-style questions to kind of guide you towards the answers rather than just handing them to you. What I really love about their site and program is you can just create a free account, preview every single course, and read all of the content in guest mode. But if you want the real experience, the interactive coding, answer verification, progress tracking, and community boss fights, well, you want the membership. So if you're serious about learning back-end development the right way, go to boot.dev and use my code LegendaryDrops to get 25% off your first entire year on an annual plan. That's boot.dev, code LegendaryDrops. Link is in the description and the pinned comment. One of the things I find so fascinating about these indie success stories is how almost none of them are ever alike. Sure, they might share a genre, a theme, maybe a budget, but they almost never share the exact same set of conditions that make them blow up. Schedule 1 was passed around because it had its free demo, a absurdly long offering of over 80 hours of gameplay just to...
I think that it was a really great opportunity for them because they had people like Queso playing it on stream. And Queso is really good at picking out games that are entertaining and fun to roleplay in. That's like his whole shtick. And I think it just showed that, like, some people don't give things a chance just by, like, looking at the graphics.
Demo alone, and the only reason people found it was because they started pushing it on streamers like Queso. Palworld was an incredibly fun game on its own, but its over-the-top tone and its controversy with Nintendo turned what could have been an obscure indie curiosity into one of the most talked-about releases in the past 5 years. Balatro, Expedition 33. We can continue to go down the list, and it's going to be the same. In almost every single one of these cases, there was some strange hook, some defining trait that helped these games to rise above the rest and make traditional marketing feel entirely pointless. These games didn't succeed despite the system. They succeeded outside of the system, reaching heights that some of the most expensive...
People tried to also sue Schedule 1 as well, didn't they? That never went anywhere, and it just made it more popular. We talked
AAA
about
releases in recent years can't even touch, even after spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to buy the exact same attention. Which brings us to the latest success, and honestly one of the weirdest ones yet, Megabonk, developed by a solo dev going under the name Vetadad. For whatever reason, if you guys haven't heard of this game, it's a survivor-like that's built off the exact same formula that was popularized by Vampire Survivors, a genre that has completely flooded the indie space at this point. We are way past the point of saturation here. Every theme, every IP, every niche seems to have one of these games right now. There's Hollow Cure with its VTuber cast, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, Heretical, which is essentially Diablo as a survivor, Halls of Torment, 20
Except
Minutes Till Dawn. The list doesn't just end. So when I say that a game like this shouldn't have succeeded, I mean it, because there are just so many of them out there. And while a lot of these games do just fine, true breakout success is an entirely different story when a genre is this crowded, but Megabonk did it. As of recording this video, Megabonk hit a peak of over 117,000 current players on Steam, but it didn't start there. It launched at barely 3,000 players. It doubled that number the next day, then it climbed another 5 and 10,000 almost every single day until it broke 100,000 players. That kind of steady day-by-day growth almost never happens, and once you look into how this game actually reached those players, it starts to make perfect sense. The first thing, and probably the most obvious, is the price. Yet another game that's sitting at about $10 or less, making it easy entry point for just about anyone. It doesn't feel like a commitment. It's cheaper than McDonald's, and with it being on Steam, if you don't like it, you can just refund it. Nothing here is making you feel like you're locked in, you're not married to the game, something that we cannot say for a majority of the games that have released recently.
I'm so sick of games pumping out content instead of making good content that lasts a while. I think that battle passes, if they don't have like a fun game centered around it, I'm so sick of that shit. I'm sick of seasonal games too. I just want to be able to play a game like I used to, like on World of Warcraft. And part of it, the reason why World of Warcraft was so popular was because of the social aspect. I don't believe MMOs are unpopular because people don't like MMOs. People love MMOs. It's just that they're not good enough anymore, and they don't have that social aspect to them that they used to have.
Now, on top of that, during its launch week, the developer put it on sale for $8. Imagine that. It's actually something that I've seen more and more indie games start to do lately, and it's incredibly smart. It gives people a reason to take a chance right away. Why do they want to buy today? That's a question that some of these developers need to be asking themselves, especially right now when we are in the middle of a huge flood of releases, most of them $70 games with hardware prices that are skyrocketing around them. People do not have a lot of extra cash that's sitting around right now, but $8 or $10, I mean, anybody can scrape that together without a second thought. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I think Megabonk is some
And also, it's more value than, like, a Big Mac or something, because at least you'll be able to play the game for more than an hour. I just want games to be good again. I really do. I think a lot of people cling to the nostalgia of, like, oh, yeah, this old MMO that I used to play was amazing back in 2004. I'm sure it'll be good again. It's the sunk cost fallacy.
Evolutionary leap forward for
we need someone to make a good MMO.
Survivor genre. I've been playing it. I've definitely been addicted to it, but what I think really sets this game apart is that it's fully 3D and it heavily leans into mechanics that have been ripped straight out of Risk of Rain 2, which I love, by the way, because it's a game that I have over 1,000 hours into, and, well, that also makes me realize just how dangerous it is for me to be playing a game like this. But movement and positioning play a massive role in the game. You got to think about how you're traversing the map and how your abilities work. The game heavily leans into meme culture with characters and items named things like Mega Chad, Burgor, and a tree boss named Bark Vader. The game is just really lighthearted, absurd, and fun. And honestly, that's what sold me on the game, because there's just so many full-priced games out right now that require 70 hours of progression even to feel like you just even started the game. They take themselves so seriously, and guys, I'm just kind of tired of it at this point. I just want something I can jump in and jump out of.
Even COD has become so devolved. Like, you used to be able to just unlock a weapon and that's it. Now it's like an actual grind and chore.
I feel like I need to make time for it. I feel refreshed after playing it. I don't need to memorize controls or mechanics, and it's what makes games like this so great, because you can just learn by feeling. And game feel is something that's just entirely lost on this industry right now. Hell, I largely don't even need to think while I'm playing this game, but that doesn't mean that the game can't get serious.
True.
Mechanically, the game is incredibly simple, but you got to make sure that you have a solid build by the time you reach each stage's final boss. Otherwise, you're just going to get hammered. You got to have the movement nailed down. You got to have multiple multiple layers of protection stacked up, otherwise you're just going to get one shot by the final boss. It's the kind of game where every single choice matters, and that gives it a very different flavor of challenge from a lot of other games in this genre. And the music...
And I think a lot of AAA games get really AAA game companies get irritated when people enjoy a game and then they just put it down. There's always like an incentive of making investors happy and thinking that they need to make a game that has like a really high monthly concurrent user base constantly. That's why seasonals are such a thing. That's why Blizzard releases what is it called, like Remix, and they're milking hardcore and they're milking Season of Discovery. That was really good for retaining high monthly users, but ultimately like the game just doesn't like feel good. I mean, SOD was okay, but like again, it's just same old shit. They're too scared to jump out of the proverbial box.
That's another thing too. Dude, the music in this game has no business going this hard. It is way too good. It is so easy to find myself just trapped in a trance, disassociating and looking up and seeing that hours have gone by. But none of those things are why this game actually reached players. That's the foundation. That's the stuff that made it all possible. But what really pushed this game into the spotlight was something entirely different. See, Megabonk didn't have any traditional marketing. What it did have was a developer that was uploading their devlogs to YouTube. Actually, scratch that. There was only one devlog and a handful of YouTube shorts that completely outperformed that long-form video. These shorts were brilliant. High-colored thumbnails, bubble text pulled straight from tweets and YouTube comments, meta humor showing players asking for new mechanics and characters, and the developer showing that they were actually making it for them. Later ones started showing these players beating the developer's high score in the demo, and there were other ones that were showing people breaking the game entirely with busted builds. And then there's also this mystery behind the entire thing. A lot of people believe this game was made by Danny Dev, a YouTuber that vanished about 3 years ago. The developer's name, Benedad, is literally Danny Dev spelled backwards, and the thumbnails and the editing style are almost identical to his. Whether it's actually him returning under a new name or it's somebody that just perfectly studied his playbook, it worked.
We don't know.
The videos hit the exact same mix of humor, creativity, and accessibility that made Danny Dev's channel blow up in the first place. And while I've been watching this entire thing, I realized what was actually happening. This, my friends, is pure, unfiltered social media marketing genius, and I love it. Take a minute to think about it. Those videos...
But that's because it's a good game to begin with. Like... Schedule 1 had zero marketing. It took one streamer to play it one time, and it blew up overnight. And everybody loved it. People loved watching TikToks of people playing like Asmon and Queso, and a couple other people that would constantly get recommended to me. I mean, yeah, he's doing a great job marketing it himself, but I'm just saying, like, the game itself is good. I mean, you don't really need marketing that much.
They're suggesting features, and then he shows that he put those features in, and they invite more people to comment with their own ideas, which then boosts engagement and feeds the algorithm. The videos that are showing the leaderboards and the broken builds, that's encouraging more players to share their own footage in hopes that the developer might feature them next. It's a self-sustaining loop of curiosity and recognition. The audience is shaping the game, the developer is shaping the content, and the cycle just keeps feeding itself. They made a game for the players, and now those players are marketing that game, which means the next step was only a matter of time. Streamers. Nearly every major streamer on YouTube and Twitch have been playing Megabonk, and all these guys have been addicted to it. I only found out about the game because somebody popped into my live chat and asked me if I had tried the game yet. I said that I hadn't heard about it.
I think I saw Asmon playing it. Or someone else. No, I think it was Asmon.
And they said that they had found it through those same YouTube shorts and brought it to their favorite content creator. And that's exactly how it spread. The same thing happened with Queso, Moist Critical, Shroud, Quinn69, and eventually Asmon Gold when he came back from his break. Glad to see that guy's doing all right, by the way. Once those streamers got it into their hands, visibility hit critical mass. Each new creator that picked up the game brought in more players, and the numbers just kept climbing from there. And now this loops us all the way back to gameplay, because remember what I said earlier, it's the foundation, not the catalyst. Megabonk has insane replayability. Each level is broken up into 3 different areas. Those 3 areas have 3 difficulty tiers: challenges, quests, unlockable items, characters, weapons, tomes,
it's got
skins,
the Terraria
maps,
look
secrets.
to it too.
It's stacked with a ton of different content. Combine that with how fun the game is and how mechanically satisfying it is to play, and now you have something that's hooking.
Wait, what's that achievement? Poison 50,000 enemies with moldy cheese. Did someone say cheese?
fun the game is and how mechanically satisfying it is to play. And now you have something that's hooking in players for weeks.
Ooh, get that
So
crit.
as visibility grew, the new players weren't dropping in and leaving. They were staying. They were playing daily, sharing clips, streaming it. And that created this cycle of...
Wait, he's got the animation cycle walk of that meme guy. Like the dun 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 dun. Do you know guys know what I'm talking about? He's got
growth
the walk
that just
cycle.
built upon itself a perfect storm of fun
Like
gameplay,
Donk
streamer
Walk,
exposure, and social media momentum. Something that the rest of this
Mega
industry
Chat.
desperately needs to learn from, but they likely won't. Out of the huge slate of AAA games and just games in general that we've seen release over the past couple of months, I have played Borderlands 4, Hades 2, and Silksong. And after playing Borderlands 4, I felt like I needed to take a week-long break before I even tried to dip a toe into playing Dying Light 2. And while there are AAA games that I like, right now I'm in the mode of I've seen it, I've been there, I've done that. I've heard this story before, and there is just so much time commitment and so much time between when I can actually get to the content, the heart of the actual experience, that it just makes me go, no. I'm just really not that into it. I want a digestible game.
Dude, I can hear it purring, I'm pretty sure.
And Megabonk, that's a digestible game.
My cat does this too.
I think there's something to that. I think it's not that there's too much or too little content with some of these games. I think it's the speed and the frequency in which you can actually reach the content and how quickly you can actually enjoy it. That's how you keep people playing your games. That's how you keep people talking about your games. You know, this entire first week that I've seen of Ghost of Yotei being up and around, a lot of people are just sharing how pretty the game is. And while you can definitely...
Yeah, Donkey's, like, funniest part about the video is that, this is so pretty. And then the gameplay is, like, kind of, like, pretty ass. The story is, like, ass. Wow, it's such a pretty game. It's like, yeah, but half the people can't even appreciate it, man. Who the hell has like a 4080 laying around? I don't even have one.
Sell copies based on how pretty something is, especially in the case of Ghost of Yotei. A lot of people are waiting on the content, and the longer it takes to get to the content, the less interested people are going to be in the game. The less it's going to be a part of the discussion. And that's exactly how you lose momentum. The marketing for this game is just genius. That's all it is. This developer knew exactly what they were doing. The minute they saw those YouTube shorts take off, they abandoned the long form videos. They focused directly on that. They answered player feedback directly. They implemented their changes into the game. So when the players finally got their hands on the game, they got exactly what they had asked for. And people love to talk about getting exactly what they want. That's like 90% of social media today. It's people that are talking about getting exactly what they want or being mad that they aren't getting what they want.
I miss when AAA games had forums where devs communicated with them. Blizzard used to do that, and then they shut it down. I think it was in like BFA or Shadowlands. And they completely ruined it. They just stopped listening. Now they're trying to listen to feedback, but I don't know. Schizo's ruined for that for us? I don't think so, man. I think it's because they don't want to listen to gamers because what gamers want takes too much effort. Yeah. I don't think it's Schizos. I don't. It's easy to ban Schizos. Into that,
you're going to find success. I think that's the best part of it, because when a game pops off like this, the players aren't just playing it, they're sharing it, they're clipping it, they're talking about it because it's theirs. They own it. That's not marketing. That is just organic momentum. That is interest, real interest, and that's something that you just can't buy, and that's something that AAA keeps trying to do. One of the things that I think really helps sell these recent indie successes is the genuine desire to be a part of something that is real. Players want to be in on it early. They want to be the first ones to find out about the next hit surprise before anybody else does. Communities then form around that, and there's something patently authentic about that experience, almost nostalgic, like the days of midnight launches or meeting friends in line while you're waiting for a game that you're all excited about.
Games aren't social anymore, and that's kind of part of the reason why the culture has died of it, because, you know, COVID happened and whatnot. It was already dying off before that, but COVID really sealed the deal on it. I also think min-maxing really, really ruined games, to be honest. Like Alpha and alphas and betas and like pre-alphas. Test our game. It's like, okay, well, you have playtesters.
Same feeling of shared discovery,
care.
of genuine excitement, and it's something that you cannot manufacture, though many of publishers are trying to do so right now. Something that is not necessarily new, but feels more blatant than ever, is how inauthentic the excitement around certain games have become. Take the upcoming Call of Duty Black Ops 7.
Blaps!
The hype behind this game feels entirely forced, especially from content creators and the marketing itself. And I'm not talking about paid sponsorships or brand deals or even talking money under the table. I'm just talking about being performative. I mean, how is anybody supposed to take any of this enthusiasm seriously when we're talking about a series that has spent years now eroding player trust? This franchise has been slop farming its audience for over a decade. The trailer has over 500,000 dislikes on YouTube.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I didn't even know that was that bad. I was like, I knew it's gonna flop, but damn, Blob 7 is eating shit.
Yet we have content creators and Activision that are both trying to desperately convince everybody that this is somehow the best Call of Duty ever. Everywhere I look right now, I'm seeing videos and posts that are trying to convince players that Battlefield 6 won't last, that Call of Duty deserves.
I don't know. I don't hear any hype behind Blops. I think there's a lot more people in my chat that enjoy Battlefield. Call of Dookie, more like it. That's right.
It's another chance that this one will finally be different, guys. These guys need a hotline is what they need. But what we're seeing here is fear. It's a collision of circumstances where longtime creators who have built their platforms around this series need it to be able to stay relevant, while Activision is genuinely threatened by real competition. Black Ops 6 is at its lowest player count in over a decade. Reports are saying that Microsoft lost $300 million putting the game on Game Pass. Both sides of this are trying to cling to the exact same sinking ship, each one pretending like it's still sailing, and they are hoping that you will start rowing. The result has been this strange corporate hollow atmosphere, one that's probably going to do a lot more harm than good. The harder they push this forced enthusiasm, the more it's going to just drive players away. And when you're releasing a new Call of Duty every single year, it's not an event anymore. It's just a transaction, a routine, and no amount of empty excitement is ever going to change that. And what I think makes this
They're trying to also like model their game releases around World of Warcraft. They tried to stagger the releases like, COD is coming out this year, this coming quarter, the new WoW expansion is going to come out, because it's all one conglomerate company. They want to have a consistent upward trend, and they try to push deadlines really, really hard, and they don't care if it's not ready yet.
More hilarious is the games that aren't screaming for attention are the ones that are getting it right now. I mean, Activision and Microsoft are burning hundreds of millions of dollars trying to fake excitement. Megabonk did it all for free. People actually cared. People wanted to talk about it because they actually wanted to. Streamers played it because they were genuinely curious about it. The conversation wasn't scripted. It was spontaneous. That's the difference. Megabonk feels like a game that was made for its community, not a product that was being sold at them. It wasn't designed to dominate engagement metrics or check off corporate KPIs. It was just fun, and that's enough to make people want to share it. AAA can spend all the money in the world, but if the players don't believe in what they're selling, well, it's just noise. And I don't think these guys have realized it yet. The constant releases, the endless sequels, the recycled franchises, they have no motion. It ties back to that been there, done that fatigue I mentioned earlier. We've seen these games before, and they're running out of tricks to be able to play, to be able to try to keep us interested. Hell, now more than ever, they don't even entice us with anything new.
And they power creep the game, too. Like, I understand this is a power creep game as well, because it's Vampire Survivors in 3D. But with games like COD, the point of the game is to shoot the other guy and then they die and you win. There's not much more to it. And I think because COD has been around for 15 years now, maybe even more than that, I don't even know. The game has been around for so long, they're trying to add so many more spokes to the wheel where it's not necessary, and try to sell you on something without actually making the game fun.
The only thing they have left is to sell is nostalgia. Half of the excitement around these games anymore is the faint hope that the series might return to form or listen to
it's a sunk cost fallacy. It's the same thing with WoW players too.
Player feedback. Those phrases by now have already lost all meaning. Players' expectations are so low right now that it's just borderline apathetic, and that's exactly why these indie hits are so big, and that's why they're thriving right now, because for once we don't know what we're getting. Expectations. Now, there's a conversation we should probably be having, because I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but as somebody who follows nearly every major release every single year, whether that's just tracking the news, the reception, or actually playing these games, one of the biggest factors that I've seen in a game's success has almost always come down to expectations. And more times than not, it is the price that is setting it. Remember earlier when I was talking about how it's not a matter of a game having too much or too little content, but how quickly you can access it? I think it's the exact same logic that's applying to quality, or at least how...
That's why I think MMOs like BDO and MapleStory, and I want to say WoW is getting to that point too. If you want your friend to play World of Warcraft, even if they've played an MMO before, like Final Fantasy, the amount of information that you have to explain to them, as opposed to like pick up the gun and shoot the guy, or play your character press Frostbolt, or I don't know, like the game has become so complicated that it doesn't make it fun for anyone trying to try the game. The buy-in is just too much. Yes, it might seem easy for you as a World of Warcraft veteran or whatever, that you've been playing for like 10 years, because it's easy for you, but you try to understand the game from a person who doesn't play the game like you do, and it's so extremely complicated.
Perceive it before we actually even touch a game. Price is...
WoW has too many buttons. I don't even think it's a button thing. I know this might be a hot take. I think it's a system thing. I don't think retail is actually mechanically difficult, because there's a lot of classes that aren't complicated at all. Like, beast mastery hunters, you just press freaking, kill command. Like, that's it. I don't think that's the problem. It's the talent trees, it's the gearing, it's the currencies, it's all the quests and all that bullshit. It's the same thing with COD. You can't just pick up and play the game. You have to like fucking get a science degree to fucking understand it.
Shaping that perception.
Bro, just look up a guide. You don't realize this, but most people don't want to fucking read a 10-page guide on how to play a game. I hate that logic. I hate that there's people out there who are like, oh, just fucking read a guide. You shouldn't have to read a guide to play a game. Sorry. Elden Ring drops you in, and you just have a sword, and you swing, and you swing, and you swing. The game can be hard, but it's not fucking difficult. You just, the learning curve is like, it's not a fucking massive steep curve. It's a gradual step by step. You learn it and then you go boom. Okay, I've learned this. I go to the next part. You don't get dropped into the last boss instantly and die.
How do you get people celebrating a game like Megabonk? Easy. They spend $8 to $10 on a game, and they get something that massively over-delivers. It was deeper, more competent, and way more fun than anyone expected for a game that looks like it costs $8. It's a surprise, a pleasant one, and it makes players feel like they've been given something, not sold something. You can feel the developer's appreciation baked into it. The directive there was to make money, sure, but not at the expense of the player's experience. When I think back to a game like Expedition 33, that's another one that released at $50, and it punched way above its weight. And
again, I can't help but think when people say look up a guide, there are so many amazing, fantastic games where you just don't need a fucking guide to play the game. You just don't. If you suck, you beat your head into the wall, you might look up a YouTube video to learn the mechanics of the boss because you might not have the time investment, but you still shouldn't need it. You don't. Expedition 33. I didn't look up a single fucking guide on how to beat something because I was like, okay, well, if I really truly need it, I guess I'll look it up. But I didn't need it at the end of the day. I think it also breaks immersion. The fact that there's people who are out there who cry and say, you need to read a guide before you play a game. It breaks my fucking heart because it's like you don't want to have people enjoying the game with you. That's what I think at the end of the day. If you want to get an in-depth guide to understand how to min-max your game, how to make the optimal strats, how to absolutely min-max the game, I understand that because I'm sure that the Mega Bonk has ultimate strats and min-maxing, but at the end of the day, you don't need it. If you want to, go ahead.
Care about the vernacular here, indie, AA, Expedition 33 was a AAA experience, or at least what we should actually be expecting for AAA games to actually be like. Something mind-blowing, something you remember, something you want to come back to over and over again. And when you play a game like that, it feels like you've been gifted something by the developer. That $50 investment doesn't just feel worth it, it feels like you stole.
I didn't need a friggin' guide when I first entered the game. I had enough on the screen. I was like, okay, I'll read the text. It's not that deep, man.
The damn game.
You die.
I think that games like that come from a mindset where the price isn't even on the developer's radar. That focus is just on the experience, and that sincerity then transfers directly into the player. Hell, they just announced that they're going to have a new free DLC celebrating selling 5 million copies with entirely new dungeons, bosses, enemies.
And it's free because guess what? They made so much money that they don't really need the money, the excess.
Costumes. Again,
wow,
money was never the priority. The customer and their experience were. Now we turn our eyes to AAA. $70 sets an insanely high bar that most of these companies will never reach. And honestly, regardless of the economy, I don't even think games should cost that much to begin with. That price tag creates a cycle of impossible expectations. You sell me a good $70 game one year, now you got to do it again the next year. Only bigger, flashier, and somehow better. The problem is, most of these studios are completely out of ideas. They've lost the talent that actually helped them earn that first $70, so now they have to compensate with graphics, higher fidelity, bigger worlds, higher budgets, all to make a game look like it was worth.
This hair particle on her face looks so much more HD than the game that came out 3 years ago. Please give us more money. That justifies the $70 price tag as opposed to $50 price tag that you had 2 years ago. Like, come
my
on.
money when it clearly isn't. You know what? At this point, I would argue that $70 price tag has actually flipped our expectations. Nobody believes in it anymore. Our expectations for a $70 game aren't sky high. They're buried in the dirt. We know exactly what we're buying. A game that has put a premium on its expense, not on our experience. We expect something safe, something recycled, something loaded with microtransactions and pre-order bonuses. We expect it to be rushed, buggy, unfinished, because cutting QA saves them.
Because they need to pump it out at the time that is designated for. There's been so many people who don't realize that a lot of games have had massive delays. They just don't talk about it because when the game is ready, it's ready. When there's an expectation for it to be out in Q1 for some investors so that they can keep having climbing monthly user, interactions or whatever it's called, MSU, they need to have that game out then, even if it's buggy, even if it's half finished, because they need to make money. And they don't care. But like Borderlands 4, they literally had the guy promoting the game as an advertisement and it crashed on them 3 times on stream. Like, what are we doing?
Money, and the players will end up doing that job anyway. Worse, on top of that, we're also going to be the ones that are going to be paying for the fixes later. A really interesting discussion that I saw recently.
And another thing, I remember when I was a little kid, when a game crashed on me, it was usually my computer's fault. Like something didn't install correctly, or my graphics card was too dog shit, or I didn't have enough RAM. Now I just expect it to be the fucking game's fault. When did that happen? Do you guys remember your game crashing and it was because it was your computer's fault? And not because, I don't know, they had like a 1 instead of a 0.
Players that were talking about the Game Pass price hikes and how they were totaling up all of their expenses so far as how many games they actually played and how many games they actually purchased in a year. And they came to the conclusion that the service wasn't worth it for them anymore. $5 here, $10 there. They're mostly buying indie games anymore. $360. That's not what they're spending every year on video games. And when I see that and I hear people talking about that, it makes me think that more and more people are being drawn in by the price of some of these games rather than anything else. And the dagger here is that
I don't even think that's true, because people said that they were willing to buy 2 Silk Songs for the price of 1 and give it to a friend. because they thought that they underpriced themselves. They thought that the game devs were underpricing themselves. I don't think it's even that. I'm not gonna lie. I disagree.
Price tag is inviting them in.
I mean, sure, it's nice that it's cheap, but like some people are like, I feel like I'm ripping off the game dev. This should be like at least $15 or $20 or $30.
But the game itself is exceeding far beyond their expectations. And I would actually argue that even if you go and you watch some of the reviews for some of these games, or even go watch a streamer play some of these games, they're still going to deliver an experience that you don't expect. For me, with Megabonk, it was how the game actually feels to play, the mechanical depth of how it feels to play. It's learning how momentum works and sliding around and how to be able to position yourself and position your character properly, to be able to use your weapons effectively, balancing your tomes and weapons and what kind of build that you're going to use, what kind of character you're going to use, like using banana and trying to maintain a straight line to maximize its damage. That's not the kind of mechanical depth that I had expected from a game like this, but I got it, and it made me more hooked on it. And it also makes me appreciate it more because I only paid $8 for it. That's what's driving a lot of these games to wild success. Mm-hmm. And you just don't see that in AAA games anymore because we know what to expect from them. And these companies need us to know what to expect from them because that's why they're called a safe option for these guys. Oh, it's a third-person sword guy action game. Oh, it's Dark Souls. It's literally Dark Souls. And while I like Dark Souls, I still want something new. I still want something fresh. I still want something different. And I still want you to try to exceed my expectations. And if you don't, well, it just makes me feel like I'm playing the same game over and over and over again. And while that can be fun for a while, it's not fun for very long, especially when you're spending this kind of money. I totally think Megabonk was made by Danny Dev. I totally think. It's hung up way too much of a coincidence.
I'm really sick of people constantly saying, "Oh, it's WoW 2, or it's the next Dark Souls. It's a Dark Souls game." It's like, God damn it, man! All these consumers labeling everything. Danny, no, it's a game dev that basically he stopped making games and he went under a new alias, or something or another. I remember reading about it before this video.
Obviously, with the name and also with the way that they made a lot of their content, I could totally see this being as one of those 0 to hero. I made a game without using my name or recognition or my channel to see if it could actually become popular on its own, and it worked. You know, one of those kind of things. You've seen content creators do that kind of stuff with like YouTube channels and Twitch streams and stuff. Like I tried to start all the way over, and this is how it happened. But it could just be somebody that's just insanely inspired by the guy. And if that's the case, that's pretty sick. I'll be honest with you. I will tell you right now, if you're an indie dev, I highly recommend that you pay attention to everything that happened with this game and how they continue to perpetuate the interest around it. You still have to have a good game first. I'm not saying that's not a part of the equation. That is the baseline. That is the expectation that most of us are going to have. Have a good game, but if you pay attention to how this developer had marketed the game, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have an easy time. It's brilliant.
It's experience, though.
Hope you guys enjoyed this.
That's probably why he's schizo posting and saying it's Danny, even though there's no like confirmation of it.
Video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. I'll be live today if today is Friday. If you're watching this not on Friday, then, well, come back on a Friday. Anyway, stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace. Family. 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 That was a good video. Thank you! Thank you, Legendary Drops. He's got a point, man. You should look at the system requirements for Megapunk. It's funny. What is it, like a fucking potato attached to like a graphics card from like 20 years ago? And a keyboard and mouse and like a CRT monitor.